Hi guys, my name is Marcel and we have today a panel discussion about why professionals should join Web3 today. I have with me four really great guests, and before we start with the question, I would like to ask everybody to introduce herself or himself. Maria, would you like to start?
Thank you, Marcel, for this opportunity. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very excited to speak in today's panel. My name is Maria Olms, and I'm the founder and CEO of Ecolens. Ecolens is a training and recruitment company. What we do is we educate people from emerging countries to work in the Web3 space, and then we connect Web3 companies with the trained professionals. For us, it is extremely important that we have this first step of education because the current Web3 environment is so dynamic. There are so many things going on. So we believe that education is essential in order for anyone to be successful in this space. And of course, companies are demanding educated and high quality talents. So we're trying to close this gap. Yeah, this is from my side, and I'm excited to hear from the rest of the panelists.
Thanks a lot, Maria. And you see already a few topics we'll talk about today. Isabel, would you like to follow?
Yes, hi, Isabel Welke is my name. I have the chair for strategy and organization at TUM, and my strength and weakness is that I'm often early onto new technology topics, which is beneficial because then, often we're one of the first to study them, but it has a disadvantage because sometimes, you get rejected because the grant proposals you submit are not known to reviewers. And I think that probably still applies to Web3 and blockchain, although I do recognize that, companies and general public interest is picking up now in 2023. And I think, in 3 to 5 years, to my mind, there's no doubt about that we will just call Web3 the internet that we know as we know it in 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I totally agree. Super exciting times. Sunny, would you like to go next?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. It's great to be here together with you all. And my name is Sunny. I'm based in the Netherlands, and I'm founder of Mastal and also several new initiations as well. So it's a Web3 based community in the Netherlands. And I'm also very active as mentor and builder in the Web3 and the blockchain space. So it's very exciting today to address the job and also the career for the young professionals here, as that's really the future. So looking forward that we dive deep into this topic later.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And Oman, now you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Marcel. I'm excited to be here today with all of you. I'm a co-founder with Web3 Architects. We're a consultancy supporting our clients on their journey into Web3, from the initial onboarding and education. What is it all about? What is hype? What has substance, over strategy and product development towards the actual implementation. And one key aspect that we encounter in these discussions with our clients is actually, what kind of talent do we need? What kind of resources do we need on that journey? And what do careers in that area look like? So I'm really excited for the discussion today with you guys.
Thanks a lot. A lot of those questions we like to answer today. Of course, for the audience, there will be the opportunity to ask questions in the chat as well. So at the end, we'll take a look at those as well. So feel free to type in whatever you ask yourself. Let's start right away with the first question. How will the job market in Web3 evolve in 2023? And what kind of factors will drive growth and adoption in this market? Would like to jump in this question.
Yeah, maybe as I was talking anyway, I can continue a bit. I think it will be a mixed bag. I mean, we've seen some layoffs, especially at the bigger Web3 companies, such as Coinbase, for example. No doubt about that. The crypto winter that we see in the markets at the moment has an impact there. On the other hand, there is still a lot of innovation ongoing on the technical level, but also on the organizational and governance level. And if we look at certain parts of the ecosystem, there is always a bull market somewhere, as we like to say. For example, the layer 2 ecosystem in Ethereum, like companies like Arbitrum, Optimism, they are growing and hiring like crazy. And that would also be my advice to maybe people listening in today and looking for an opportunity. Look for the niche, for the sub area, so to say, where innovation and growth is happening, and try to find your spot there.
Maybe I can add up a little bit more, is that I was in Davos this year in January, and I noticed that there were so many highlights in crypto, metaverse, and I think officially the World Economic Forum will launch their own metaverse as well. So I think that gave us a very strong signal to the markets, or also to the society, that this is the future trend, because basically Wave is setting the tone of the year for the economy. So from there, I saw a lot of very strong support from policy-wise from different countries. So I think that really gives a great opportunities to the talent as well. So just to add up that point.
If we speak about the metaverse and opportunities to educate there, Maria would like to add something. I think you with Ecolens are at the spot.
Yeah, sure, Marcel. Yes, the metaverse is a very exciting area from the Web3 space, because it is evolving right now. So it is in its early stages, I would say. And the metaverse is a place where all different kinds of businesses could expand and could find new opportunities for business development, sales, also education. So we at Ecolens look at the metaverse from two perspectives: the educational perspective and the recruitment perspective. We're offering frequently events to people who want to educate themselves about the metaverse. So what is the metaverse? What kind of different metaverses are there? How to experience it? We're actually hosting the events in the metaverse. And our plan is also to build the first training and recruitment center in the metaverse, where people can experience both education, but also being recruited through the metaverse. And we're seeing a lot of traditional brands from the fashion industry, from the gaming, sports industry, entering the metaverse and looking for opportunities, how to grow their business. Yeah, and as I said, business development opportunities in the metaverse. So definitely what Sunny said, the metaverse is probably going to be one of the biggest drivers for Web3 in 2023. However, I would also like to add that things like security are also one of the biggest, for me, aspects that has to develop in 2023. And with security, I mean, we have experienced some security breaches and some DeFi protocols and blockchain protocols in the past months. So security companies, I think, will also have a lot of work to do, and blockchain security experts this year. So I see this also as an additional sector in the blockchain space that is going to have a big development this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think education is one of the key factors we have to concentrate. Before you can get a job, you first have to educate the people. Isabel, you, of course, as a professor, has a lot of experience with education. What would you say? How can blockchain help us with education, maybe?
Well, certainly blockchain technology has an impact, or will continue to have an impact on the education industry. Think about new business models like learn to earn or play to learn. They are putting traditional educational business organizational models upside down. And then, of course, if you ask about education and blockchain, you will be hard pressed, at least in Germany and Europe, finding institutions where you can actually learn about it. I believe, the number of blockchain professorships in Germany, you can probably count on one hand, if at all. And of course, there are people active. We are active, but we are doing it, almost as a side project, because officially I have the chair for strategy and organization. It's not a blockchain chair or Web3 chair, and there aren't very many. Especially if you compare blockchain to other emerging tech like AI, there are many new, 50, 100 new chairs in AI, and there are almost none in Web3, which is, interesting. And so I think people wanting to get an education, they are looking for other educators than the traditional institutions, because at universities, mostly they will not find blockchain degrees or even a lot of blockchain courses. So you have to look elsewhere to alternative outlets. And also, I think it makes sense if you're thinking about your own education and which career to choose, you always want to choose an industry that's growing, an industry where lots of opportunities will be coming in, because that'll be advantageous whether or not you do a particularly good job or not, because a growing industry, it's like a tide coming in, the tide will lift all boats. And so I think that makes sense, from a younger person's perspective, planning their career to be in a growing space, because they'll be provided with many more opportunities than in average or declining industries.
Yeah, I totally agree. If you speak about blockchain jobs and how to get those, I think the first thing we can summarize is it's a great opportunity for young people for a really good career and a really good life. And so that's why everybody is, I think, or can be highly motivated to find maybe it's a sweet spot in Web3. So now, after we talked about education, what kind of new jobs will evolve in Web3? Maria, you already started talking about security. Could you follow up on this?
Of course. So I was at the European Blockchain Convention last week, and I spoke probably to over 50 Web3 companies, because of course I want to know, what are they looking for? What are they going to do this year? In which direction they're developing? What profiles are they looking for? So what I can say here to summarize a little bit is that there are a few completely new jobs, but in general, there is nothing new in the jobs. So if you are a professional from the Web2 space, the new for you is not going to be the job description, let's say, or the name of the job. It's going to be the environment of you doing this job. So for example, if you are let's say a community manager or a content creator from the Web2 space, you can move into the Web3 space by educating yourself about the new social media channels Web3 companies present themselves, the new lingo that Web3 companies are using, also some content strategies that are more successful in the Web3 space. So this is the new thing in your job, not really your job title. Also, one of the new jobs, let's say, is the business development and sales job in the Web3 space, because sales and business development work very differently than in the traditional world. You have different strategies, you have different events, you have different channels, how you can sell in Web3. And one very new job is the developer relationship manager. So this is something I think quite new that is not really known from the Web2 space. And there are very, very few educational programs about this. So basically, this is the function. It's something between the developer department and the marketing department. So this is the person who's responsible for growing the ecosystem of developers of a certain blockchain protocol or blockchain company, and the adoption of a certain blockchain technology amongst the developers. And it's a very interesting position, because you have to be on one side like a business developer person, going to conferences, presenting, being a good speaker, organizing events. But at the same time, you have to be a technical person, because you have to be able to communicate to the developers and also write technical documentation for the developers. So it's a very interesting profile. And this is definitely one of the new jobs that is emerging this year.
Super interesting. Roman and Sunny, points from your side to add?
Yeah, maybe to add to that a bit of another layer. I fully agree with Maria that most of the job profiles or roles are not so different from the Web2 space. What I've been observing is that the way how people develop into such roles, they are sometimes really new in the Web3 area, because the lines between an employee, so to say, and a contributor and a passive community member, they are pretty blurred. And a lot of people that I know who are working full-time nowadays in Web3, they didn't start with a traditional application looking for a job at somewhere, handing in their CV, but rather they just started by joining a Discord community of a specific crypto project that they were interested in, started giving their opinions, started contributing certain design or governance proposals. The core team then recognized, hey, this person can actually benefit the project, and it turned into a job. Slowly, and I think this is a big opportunity in this space, also looking at the global perspective, that from anywhere in the world, as long as you have an internet connection, you can get involved with these projects, because a lot of building is actually happening out in the open.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I may add up a little bit from tech point of view. I participated to several hackathons last year, including really top hackathons hosted by Ethereum Global, for instance, in New York and then in San Francisco. What I noticed that every time there were more developers in. For instance, last time in San Francisco, that was really the largest ever hackathon in the history of blockchain hackathon history. That's 1,800 developers together and build a solution in the 1 weekend. And then in the end, we have kind of 300 submission of solutions. So that's really amazing. So if from that perspective, I think it is very important to drive mass adoption in this field. I think that is the drive to pull everything. If there's no adoption, there will be no economy, and that can't cycle. For instance, the startup can't survive. So I think a way to drive adoption is definitely to speed up the time to market of the startups. And at this moment, if you talk about speed up this, a great aspect that we need a builder everywhere. So the builders can be technical builder, also can be entrepreneur, in fact, is also a builder. So if I talk about a tech point of view, the new jobs that's definitely relevant to Web3 or unique in Web3, for instance, blockchain developer or Solidity developer, or you can say decentralized app developer. Yeah, what I noticed is that a lot of Web2 developers, they try to switch themselves to step into Web3 as well. And I have to highlight a little bit that the front end, back end in Web2 and Web3, in fact, are quite different. Especially front end may be still the same, but the interact with back end. Basically, Web3, the blockchain layer replaced the traditional back end. So the interaction from front end to back end is quite different. So for every very experienced Web2 developer, they still need to learn the skill in order to build the dApp compared to the previous app. So smart contract developer, definitely, because smart contract is one of the best, let's say at this moment, a popular direction under Ethereum. Of course, there are so many blockchains. You can also try to find a niche, for instance, to be Rust developer, or maybe focus on Polkadot or whatever. Every direction can be. And so, just as I said, from this point of view, it's really great chance for developer if they think of to make themselves ready now, and then to switch themselves to Web3, because in the future, I think all our websites will be just naturally, it will be connect to Wally instead of to log in by your user account. So it will be very natural. And another phenomenon I noticed that, for instance, in my region, I noticed that the last wave of companies who survived from the last internet wave are the companies who design websites. So even after 20 years, 30 years, we still have so many demand to design the website now. So you can imagine from now on, 20 years later, 30 years later, I think there will be still huge demand to develop a dApp or develop a kind of use cases in the decentralized world. But now it just started. So if you have this skill, you step in, basically just like what Philip in his post said, you more or less not saying guaranteed, but it's not easy that you are unemployed because you're most wanted people at this moment.
Yeah.
I would like to add something to what Sunny was saying, because I come from the very traditional industry, the financial services industry and the consulting industry. And of course, I'm speaking still to my consulting colleagues and different consulting companies. And what I've noticed is that in the financial services space, a lot of traditional institutions such as banks, asset managers, fund managers, of course, they want to move into blockchain in one way or another. And they're looking for people that understand the space. So I think it is also essential for people coming from this traditional world to educate themselves about blockchain in order to adapt to the new coming wave of traditional companies adopting blockchain. And what Sunny was saying about the developers is that actually consulting companies are also looking for blockchain developers because they're adapting the technology, they're working with fintechs that are offering blockchain solutions, and these blockchain solutions have to be implemented, right? So during the IT implementation process and project, they of course need developers that understand both worlds, let's say the financial services world and how the financial services architecture work in the bank, the IT architecture works, and of course, how blockchain application works. So I think this mixed profile will be also very demanded this year.
Yeah, to summarize maybe a little bit. So we have two maybe different fields, the IT technical orientation and the business marketing, business development orientation. I think another point was, of course, the skill set from the old world is still important, but still we have to develop maybe a few more skills regarding Web3. Of course, we will talk about those in our next question. And what Roman mentioned, maybe the location where you find a job or how you get into a job is a different location than a typical CV. So Discord and social media is much more important. Let us talk about skills and skill sets. Are there skills that are maybe in Web3 other than in Web2, Isabel? Do you think there are new skills or skill sets needed?
Well, I mean, the technical skills, new programming languages, a new understanding of the sort of the back-end infrastructure, because Web3 is very much a back-end revolution, not so much a front-end revolution. But of course, as a full-step developer in Web3, you have to bring it together. So as my predecessors have said, of course, you need the Web2 skills as well. Apart from that, I think, when you enter now, the joy is that it's a small community. So if you attend the 2-3 national, international flagship events, you will know everyone in quotation marks. You will know the players, and since it's a closely knit group, you will be able to engage and to have personal relations with the people building this industry, which is impossible in more grown industries. So it's a good time now, and we know from research, the best predictor of startup success, of career success is timing, of all things. It's like when you surf, you have to catch the wave, and so the best way, I think, is to be engaged with the community. A lot of it is happening at conferences, at hackathons, and keep sort of your sensors pointed outward, trying to understand where the wave is coming, how it is coming. And with everything, I think opportunities, exist, and they're often disguised as work, sometimes hard work. But if you're willing to engage, to educate people, to do something without expecting an immediate payback or return, I think it's a great way to grow your network and to become known. And then I'm sure, opportunities that offer financial returns will also reach you.
One thing I would like to add to that is one key skill or one area of knowledge that is often underappreciated in Web3 and crypto is the culture. I think we had today already the point that you got to know the lingo, you got to know the culture, you got to know the memes. And what I would encourage people to do is get off LinkedIn sometimes, because LinkedIn is great for many things and you can get a lot of information there, but the really deep blockchain culture. That's not on LinkedIn. That's what you find on Twitter. That's what you find in the Discord communities, on Telegram. I mean, there are billion-dollar coins built around a dog meme. As ridiculous as that sounds, you got to understand what this is all about, what that conveys, the culture, how people speak, how they collaborate, what they value, what they despise. And this is only if you expose yourself to the culture. So that would be another key thing, I believe.
Yeah, I can add up a little bit is that I think it's not new, open-minded. That's extremely important, because if you close your own eye, close your own mind, nobody can help you. So when you're open-minded, you notice that there's change here. I think everybody should start with a so-called change management. If we talk about change management, that is about organization, but I think everybody should apply first on themselves. I can give a very good example is about artists, because I work a lot with artists as well. And to be frank, I think it's a really great opportunity for all the designer artists in this era at this moment. But to benefit from this opportunity, they first have to understand what does it mean to them. For instance, what does NFT means to them, and why that's relevant to them? How can they take advantage of that? But if they are not interested to understand the new things come, and they just of course, and yeah, you can. It's personal choice, but they will lose opportunity. But I observed that several artists, they really adapt themselves very fast, and when they are aware of the NFT, they already somehow dive into it. So I think they catch up with the first wave. For instance, in 2021, those batch of artists, they already benefit from it. But of course, we're not talking about hype. We're talking about long-term impact and long-term sustainable developments. What I saw this year again is the impact of arts. For instance, in Davos, if you know the top artist, Rafik Anadol, he made a kind of AI algorithm and generative AI art piece, which was commissioned by World Economic Forum. And in fact, that is to tackle the problem of climate change, because it is more than 1,000 pictures of coral. And with the pollution of environment, whatever, the coral died. So we will see less and less. So I think, in fact, I think artists at this moment, if they change their mind, they learn. Of course, they don't need to become a technologist, but they understand this, for instance, NFT, what does it mean to them, and then they can take advantage of it. And one very important aspect is that it has never been so easy to make global impact, I would say, ever. Because normally you may have an impact from one of your work regionally, maybe in your country. But now with an NFT, you can easily be recognized and aware by the global community. Immediately, you can really make your impact globally as well. So that's really amazing what I saw.
So I would like to add to that. Roman was saying that you have to have like you have to go to different places to learn the culture, but you also have to change your mindset, because I think the Web3 space has a very different mindset than the Web2 space. And this is something that is, for example, very difficult for me, because I already have almost 10 years of experience in the Web2 space, and now suddenly I'm in a completely new space with the so-called degens that are thinking in a completely different way. And I really envy the 20-something-year-olds that are growing up in this space with no damages from the old Web2 world. And then they're really flourishing, thinking differently. And I'll give you an example. Sunny gave an example with the NFT, and I was looking for a payment processing system where we can sell tickets with cryptocurrencies. And I was looking for providers, and then our developer, and he's a 20-something-year-old guy, tells me, yeah, why are you looking into that? We're just going to mint an NFT. And I'm like, right, NFTs could be tickets, right? So this is a completely new mindset. And you know, as I said, I'm damaged from the old ways. I'm looking for a payment processing provider to help me, and they're just thinking, let's do an NFT. So I think this is very important to understand. And in this space, we have to think differently. Things are happening differently. We have the different tools. And this skill is important, you know, to try to force yourself to think differently and use the technology for the same purposes, you know, like in the past, you know, like selling tickets, we were always selling tickets, but the new way of selling tickets in blockchain is completely different. So we have to be open for this.
That's so great. That's so great. And if you mention the degens there, I mean, Maria, typically such a degen in a Discord room, he's not there as Roman Kropp, right? But rather he is there as lonely degen 85, whatever, with a profile picture. And again, that sounds ridiculous, but that's actually a new career model. And if we look a little further, actually what we're seeing in the Web3 space, I believe, is the first steps of detaching careers from our physical identity. We can have multiple careers paths. We can have multiple identities under different aliases in this space. Some of these aliases can even be shared with other individuals, and it's all under one profile picture. Nobody really knows who's doing the job behind that. Could be a guild of people, could be one individual located wherever. And if we even add the AI aspect to the mix of that and look towards the future, then I could have 20 or 30 Roman bots under different profile pictures doing various jobs, earning income for me, while I'm sitting comfy here with my cup of tea. So that's one key aspect, I believe, as well, of a Web3 career that's added value. You actually get to pioneer the future of work and of careers.
I totally agree. And as you mentioned, alias, I think every started with Satoshi, an alias as well. So it's really interesting that you can have maybe different kind of jobs. Maybe you don't have this one real job. You're working more as a freelance concept with even different kind of names and job descriptions. Now maybe I'm in the position, or let's assume I'm in the position I have the skill set. I'm really excited about Web3. How do I find the job? So what's the best approach maybe to find the approach, Isabel? Let's assume one of your students is coming tomorrow and says, Isabel, I want to work in Web3. I have a few skills, I have a few programming skills, maybe, or another person is good at marketing. What's the next step after that?
I would send them to Roman and Philip and, you know, communities that we constitute here, as I've done in the past. But I just attend the events. They're probably local groups, you know, you can find on Meetup. If you're a student, there are probably groups at university, and just get to know people in your area, get to know them personally if you can, because tacit information is still much more likely to be transmitted if you're having a drink, meeting physically with someone somewhere. And then I would encourage them to work on a project, you know, because it's easier to learn if you have a goal in mind, and it is more fulfilling and more meaningful if you are creating something or working towards a goal. A great way, I think, a great career hack for everything really is to volunteer to organize a conference. Because if you organize a conference and make it popular, you need to know who are the interesting people. You need to identify them, and then you need to get in touch with them if you want to invite them. Then you, so you're going to get a good overview of what's hot in terms of topics. You know, who are the good speakers, the interesting projects. But then once you advertise your conference, it puts you, on the radar screen, because if you've done a good job, if it's an attractive conference that people want to go to, you'll be known. And they'll ultimately, even though it may come across as an altruistic act, organizing a conference for the community, it'll also have personal benefits, because you are like a spider in the middle of the web, bringing everyone together, and that's a favorable position to be in. But again, it comes as a great opportunity disguised as hard work. And so it's not recognized by a lot of people.
Yeah, I totally agree. Sunny, you would like to add something?
Yes. I think Web3 is extremely community driven. So I think we should also adapt on that. So which means that, of course, we are still in Web 2, and we can go with a traditional channel, or for instance, job vacancy, whatever. But on the other hand, it will be a great way, for instance, to join a DAO, the decentralized autonomous organization, whatever. Some DAO, they really organize very well. I think it is a great way to be kind of integrated to the Web3 community. And I think that also refers to what Roman said previously. And Web3 gives us an opportunity to be immediately exposed to in the global scale. I think that is something quite different than the traditional job market, which you probably can think about not only looking for a job of maybe 5 kilometers or 20 kilometers away from your home. Well, for instance, even in the Netherlands, look for the job in America, look for the job in Africa, look for a job in Asia, because majority of jobs in Web3 are remote. It's possible to do in that way. So, and just broaden that and think about more of your building your own talents, your own skills, because that's at the core value you can bring to the companies. Once you have that, I think you can really. Yeah, I saw a lot of cases. For instance, the American company, in fact, their developer are in Europe, or maybe the marketing manager, in fact, is in Dubai. So that's very natural in the current settings of Web3 companies. So think broader and looking for global scale, and if possible, to be a contributor of a DAO. From there, you will learn more, and you will be also inspired by connected to the other like-minded people. Sometimes opportunities will incur via this kind of relationship because other people can refer to you. For instance, during the Web3 Talents program in Frankfurt School Blockchain Center, I supported several programs as a mentor. I noticed that sometimes the speaker, they all have needs to recruit, and maybe the encounter is that they came as a speaker, and you just learn in that session. But the importance that when you are part of the talent community, in fact, you have access to this network, and then you always can much more easier to reach out later. Also, maybe refer by your peers for a new job. I think that would be great way to looking for new opportunities for the career.
I think that was. You go ahead, Maya.
Yeah, I would like to add to that, because these are actually, we already, just to sum it up, there were already the two factors we said them that companies are really, really looking for when they're hiring. And I interviewed over 50 companies last week exactly to ask them, what are you looking for when you're looking for a talent? What do you want to see? There are the two things. First, high quality talent. That means with some experience, with the proper education. And the second one is someone recommended. They want someone they know to recommend a person to them for a position. They will not hire anyone from LinkedIn or anyone applying with a cold email or something like this. They want someone recommended. So we already said great ways, like join a DAO, join multiple communities, also go to a hackathon, meet people where you work on a project with them, then they can recommend you. And I think this is the core difference in recruiting or in getting a job between Web 2 and Web 3. And this is also what we at Ecolens are trying to foster. You know, we're organizing hackathons, we're organizing workshops, we're trying to work with corporates during our educational sessions. So these corporates can meet the people and have some experience with them. And we recommend basically these talents to them. And this is very, very important. And the moment you realize this as someone looking for a job in Web3, I think it's going to be much easier to find a job.
Exactly. So the action plan, I believe, is quite simple for anyone wanting to get in. Check your skill set. What do you bring to the table? Try and apply these skills in a DAO, for example. If you're a marketing professional, you go on the Discord and you say, hey, guys, I have these skills. How can I contribute? How can I help you out? You won't get paid for that right away, probably, but you will build reference material. You will build the connections that Maria just mentioned, and then you take the next steps and you get the real opportunities there.
Yeah, exactly. Being paid is maybe something that stops a lot of people, but I think this is an investment you have to do in the Web3 world. For example, one of my friends from university, he's now the head of DeFi of Anchor. He got his job through Twitter because he was tweeting about liquid staking constantly. He was creating graphs about different DeFi strategies with liquid staking, and he was noticed by Anchor and then offered the job. So this is something that he was doing for free, basically, putting out content, creating the strategies, because it's fun for him, right? He wanted to do it, and then he got offered the job. We have, for example, I had this UI UX designer that completely redesigned our website, gave it to me and said, Maria, look, I completely redesigned your website. And then, of course, with the hopes that I would want to work with her, right? So put in some investment of your time and energy without expecting any money back, but that what might really lead to a job for you.
Yeah, maybe one point adding up from there is that I think it's everybody's own responsibility to make yourself visible, because others will not do that for you. So, and especially in the Web3, because the whole community is a global community. So I think, for instance, just try to raise your voice, for instance, initiate a podcast, to host a panel, to have some talks, to join event. I think the other panel, well, PS already addressed, to try to make yourself visible. I think that will be extremely helpful. Just like Maria said, sometimes the job will come to you, not that you're looking for a job, the job is looking for you. When you are visible, you will be more recognizable by for instance, by the job hunters or for the companies who have needs. And yeah, I think that is a point. I think everybody should think about that as part of exactly the words investment for yourself, an investment for yourself, your own personal growth, and well, I would say just try now and take action. Maybe for after 3 months, after 6 months, it will be very different, because visibility, I don't think that's a job for influencer. In fact, everybody should do that for themselves. You can do self-branding. You can do a lot of things. That's really a very unique feature of Web3.
Mm-hmm. One of our audience members asked what you think about DAO governance and if that is a possible niche in your opinion.
Yeah, I would say it's still in the experimental phase at this moment for all the DAOs. And eventually, I would say if a DAO, yeah, driving for a specific goal, eventually there should be a legal entity as well. But at this moment, I think starts somewhere. I think that there's definitely networking value as we addressed the reference value, and also in between. I really believe the power of co-creation and co-ownership, because that will really empower people to maximize their productivity, because they are part of the owner of a specific project. They benefit, they contribute to it, they also benefit from it. So that's a new way to do project together. And on the other hand, co-creation, I think sometimes is really amazing. The decentralized way, well, of course, we look for the leadership for the boss, what's the strategy they make out, we implement that. But on the DAO way, I think everybody who's active try to actively contribute, there is a chance to do so. So together, yeah, you have 10 brands or 100 brands, even more, you can really create something really unique at this moment. So I would say just have a try. And there are hundreds of thousands of DAO at this moment. I think several of them are really great. And just gain, on the other hand, even if there's nothing, but I think you gain experience, because those experience will be also very valuable for you to, for instance, look for a job in a typical Web3 companies as well. Yeah.
Yeah. With a look on the time, I have maybe one last question for every one of you. What's your outlook maybe for 2023? How it will develop the whole job market? And maybe, of course, explain what your company or project at the moment is doing in that space and how people can get maybe connected to you. Isabel, would you like to start?
I generally notice, like other people, an uptake since the beginning of the year. More and more companies also in Germany are starting to experiment with Web3 activities all across the board. So I expect that to continue, and it'll really take off when we have a UX that's, you know, simple, that people use without having to think about, you know, a different backend that they're using. And I'm involved in a lot of research projects on DAOs, on DeFi, on how Web3 applications change business models, change the way companies reach out to their communities, whether it's applicant communities, whether it's customer communities. But I'm excited to see the first pilot projects. I think we'll see more and more pilot projects from German companies trying out Web3. And if you want a career in Web3, I suggest you make yourself known and available and be part of these projects, because not many people have experience. So it'll be a unique qualification profile if you can write on your CV that you actually do.
Thanks a lot. Roman, would you like to follow?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it will be a year of technological advances when it comes to blockchain scalability primarily. If we look at technologies such as zero knowledge proofs, if we look at layer 2 solutions, I think in that area we will see a lot of growth and new use cases that are also enabled, which will encourage mass adoption. From a career and talent perspective, I think new opportunities in these sectors will emerge. I would encourage everyone to follow these. And as a small hint, we are also currently, besides our consulting business, preparing to launch a talent collective. So I would encourage everyone to stay tuned on that as well.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. Sunny?
Yeah, well, I will again emphasize the impact of governments. Well, look broader, for instance, UAE, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, they just launched new kind of projects to support 2 billion fund for startups. So even if you are not in that region, as I said, a lot of work are remote. If they build a Metaverse for, I don't know, a very large Metaverse till 2030, they definitely need a designer, they need a consultant, they need a developer to do that. So pay attention when a government said, I invest on that. So that's the hotspots pay attention on that. On the other hand, the other emerging country like China, like Africa, also think about, of course, it looks like a mysterious box. But if you dive into it, you will find a unique position and find unique opportunities. There are also a lot of emphasis, for instance, in Chinese government to support the blockchain company, Web3 companies in the coming 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years. A lot of opportunity, and also understand Africa. I think, especially like Nigeria, they did quite a lot. The whole country, I think, I'm so amazed that they have so many developers and so many people are active to promote blockchain solution. I think that's really a good sign. Partly, I think it's somehow validated for instance, the benefits of blockchain or Bitcoin, whatever, as a financial inclusion for the financial inclusion of society. On the other hand, I think that's eventually I would think about also with so many startups, companies, and the efforts from consultants all together. I think that definitely will promote a digital inclusion in the end as well. So just highlight to be more alert of those kind of news, and not just read it and pass away. Think about not saying that's too far away, it's not relevant to me. You can be one part of it. Just think about it differently.
Mm-hmm. Thanks a lot. And Maria?
Yeah, so I would like to speak about two things. First of all, for me, this year should be the year where companies realize that it's the new future of work and that we have no borders anymore. So we can hire people from everywhere, and these are extremely good opportunities for every company. Instead of looking just in Germany, for example, because we are a German company, but all my team is in North Cyprus and in Nigeria. So we work with people internationally, and the people we educate are mostly in developing countries. For example, in Nigeria, as Sunny said, that they have an amazing pool of talent. So as a company, I would look beyond the borders of my own country. And the second aspect, 2023 for me has to be the year of financial inclusion, like also Sunny said, because with the blockchain technology and with this new future of work, we have the opportunity to pay in stable coins, to pay in cryptocurrencies. And this is the amazing opportunity that we're offering to a lot of people in emerging countries who doesn't have a stable currency, have very high inflation, have no access to cash, for example, like Nigeria. Right now, the situation there is very bad. People do not have any access to real cash to take out of their ATMs. So having the opportunity to have a wallet with stable coins and pay with it could be an amazing opportunity for these people to work internationally, earn internationally, and spend their money locally, you know, where they need it. And for me, this has to be the year of financial inclusion.
Yeah, sounds really great. Let's hope for the best, but I'm really optimistic as well. Thanks a lot to all of you. I think it was a really great panel discussion. I hope the audience got a few insights and know now exactly what to do next. One recommendation in my own regards, if you like to get insights into the life of blockchain experts, like Philip Sandner, for example, you can take a look at Web3 Stories. It's a podcast and YouTube channel where you get exactly insights into the careers of those guys. And yeah, I think super exciting. Thanks a lot. And I'm looking forward already to our next panel discussion.
Thank you very much, everyone.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.